Hi, I'm Daphne, I'm 29.
I'm Matt, I'm 31.
We're from New York and we've been living in our DIY Ford Transit camper van for 2.5 months now. We both work full-time, we own our own businesses. Thanks for coming over. Welcome to the kitchen. This is our kitchen. I love to cook. Probably passion's close second to music. Also for Matt, so it was very important that we had a fully functioning kitchen, and we're both from New York, and I can tell you this is probably nicer than some New York City apartments. So we're quite happy with it. We have butcher block countertops, that 2 pieces of which flip up. This one flips up to show you the Furrion 3-burner stove and oven. We love this thing, works very well. It runs off of propane, which you'll see in the back. We have over here a spice cabinet. I love spices. Matt and I are super passionate about spices, and my mom is a band teacher and had these instruments that were like beyond repair. So she gave them to me to use as drop holes. So this is a flute. I'm a flute player. And here I have not all of, probably half of the spices and our cooking utensils. And then down here, utilizing a trumpet side, we have our trash, which any person who lives in their vehicle knows that having a dedicated trash area is like bougie. So having this dedicated trash area is lovely. And then up here we have some more of our spices. Over the stove, we have like our little coffee area. We have like an espresso machine, a French press. I'm a cinnamon whore, so here's my cinnamon. And all of our keys. A place to have our keys is really helpful. Then over here we have our sink. It's a nice deep sink. We have 46 gallons of fresh water in the back. We have a water filter under the sink and our soap. Our gray water goes to a 9-gallon tank mounted underneath, and it is fitted with a ball valve that this switch opens and closes. We also have the Bosch hot water heater that is wired to this timer switch so that we make sure we don't overuse the power since it runs off of the inverter. And then we have 120 volt and 12 volt plugs up here for appliances and charging. Underneath the sink is our bathroom. So we don't have an indoor shower. We only have one in the back, which you'll see. But we have the Nature's Head composting toilet, as well as a pee funnel, which just goes to a hole underneath the van so you can pee on the ground from inside. And toilet paper, that's where our water pump and our water filter are all perfectly snug in this little area down here. So you just pull the toilet out and you can use it right here. And you can kind of think about this as like your little privacy area from the person who's laying in bed. And then over here we have our fridge. It also runs off of the inverter, so the inverter is on all the time, but we don't have any problems. I love organization, so I love working out of this tiny fridge. And then this is our silverware. This is a trombone slide also for my mom, and my dad was a trombone player who passed when I was younger, so this is a nice little ode to him. Matt made this magnetic knife strip out of repurposed salvage Ipe, which is the same material as the flooring. And we haven't had any issues. They all stay on when we drive. And then lastly, we have this piece of countertop, which can flip down for extra prep space or flip up to utilize the couch. And then our uppers up here house the rest of the kitchen materials. Up here we have olive oils and stuff, some more sprinkly spices, quick use pantry materials, coffee and grains and baking stuff. We have a basket dedicated each to onions and garlic and fruit, which is like chef's kiss, so nice. And then all of our cups and plates. And then our last pantry area is down here in a really big drawer, which has all of our pots and pans, a blender, a rice cooker, leftover like cans and canned goods. And that's it. So we cook some bomb food in here. Part of traveling for me that I'm passionate about is like discovering culture and food. So I love going to anywhere, getting the ingredient that is like special to the area and making something awesome with it. So we just left New Mexico. We went to Hatch, New Mexico, got chili powder, and we're gonna make a bomb chili. So things like that would be kind of what we tend to get into. A lot of wraps, smoothies. Our story around van life starts back in 2019. I had everything I thought I would want in in my mid-20s. I was like successful as a musician. I had friends and family and passions and hobbies and a great boyfriend. And I wasn't really feeling it. My depression and anxiety were definitely triggered, and I felt guilty because I was like, why aren't I happy? And I had already been obsessed with tiny houses. I had always dreamed of maybe getting like a cargo container and doing that. And then I found out van life through YouTube and Instagram. And I bought a van, which, I'm a freelance musician coming from like a widowed mom. I didn't have any money. I like really scraped together to get that to happen. I bought another Ford Transit, the little shorter one. I thought we'd be done with the build in the summer. We finished the following summer in August. Yeah, by then COVID had happened. So my performing career in New York was on hold. I was essentially free to travel full time, which wasn't what I initially envisioned. I thought I would be based in New York mostly.
I definitely didn't see that coming either. I didn't think that you were going to go on the road full time. That was definitely a shock for me when we were done with the van and she was like, okay, see you later. I'm going to go travel the country.
Thanks for your help,
I'm like, huh?
Yeah, and so I started traveling, and I went all the way from, I did New England for the first fall, and he visited in Maine.
Yeah, in Maine, that's when I fell in love with van life because, I was working a full-time job as a project manager for a roofing contractor. Even when you're on vacation, you're still tied to your phone. When I went to visit her, I basically said, okay, we're leaving the phone in the Walmart parking lot that we're going to park my truck at for the long weekend. Just being able to completely unwind and the freedom that I had that weekend was like unparalleled. I've never experienced anything like that. You wake up and your biggest concern is like, oh, where am I going to sleep tonight? That's when I knew maybe I can do this too, but I didn't quite know how yet.
Let's set some goals for, let's say in a year, you can quit your job, start a business, sell your house. I can, make some renovations to the van to have you live with us, me and Izzy, have you join us. Drove up the coast, and I was in Washington and Oregon, and Matt visited there. He left, and then I visited my girlfriends from college up there. I said goodbye to them, and I went to a lavender farm to decompress after a month of visitors, and I left, and I was only a couple miles down the road from that lavender farm. So I was traveling west, headed toward Olympic National Park in Sequim, Washington, and the other driver headed south, kind of like rolled through the stop sign. I was going about 40 miles per hour. She rolled out. My back tire went over the hood of her sedan, and the van was sent like up in the air at a tilt, so it landed on this wall, the driver's side wall, crashed onto there. It actually spun 3 times on its side. Izzy was on the passenger seat. He landed on the curtain airbag. I scooped him up. Thankfully there was a fireman who wasn't on duty, but he happened to be driving by, and he pulled over and opened the back door for me, and Izzy and I climbed out. I called Matt, and I was like, the van is gone. He had just accepted an offer on his house on the phone like a half an hour before the impact.
So it was kind of coincidental that we were both homeless in the same 20 minutes or so.
My mom flew out with me. It took 2 weeks to get everything sent back. Some of the things you saw are from the old van. And we arrived back in New York 2 weeks later, moved into his house, which was sold a month later. While we were still there, we bought the new van.
About an hour after the accident, I'm still waiting to hear details, but I'm already on Craigslist and Car Gurus and trying to shop for a new van because I knew there was no reason in waiting any longer. It was just, okay, that one's gone, let's try to pick up the pieces, and that was still part of my plan, and to quit my job, start my own business, and move into the van with her. So the longer we wait on that, the longer it would take for both of our lives to get back to normal.
And that was really clarifying for us that, like, as individuals and as a couple, we were like, nope, just like, doesn't matter, we're still doing it.
Yeah.
But it was hard. And so this one only took us 5 months. So we bought the van in August, moved in with his mom, who had a basement apartment and a big heart, who let us stay there. We built the van, finished it in January.
Building a van in the middle of winter in New York is not fun.
Yeah.
There were days where it was 15, 20 degrees out and you can't feel your fingers, but you're still out there,
But we did it. We hit the road. I still have my students. I continue to teach online. That's how we got here today.
Okay, welcome to our living area. Over here we have a nice long stretch of couches. Underneath each cushion is storage. We have gym stuff and shoes in this one. The center one is all for Izzy, our mascot over here, because he's spoiled rotten, so he gets his own couch. Back here is all miscellaneous camera gear, sweatshirts that we're not using, things like that. On the wall over here, I have my monitor. So in December, I recently quit my job of 7 years as a project manager for a commercial roofing contractor. I started my own business doing shop drawings and drafting as a freelance. Very important for me when I'm working with AutoCAD is to have a nice solid workstation. This monitor is on a mount that I can pull out. Down here, we have cubbies that hold our laptops. So this flips out. We have nice padded slots for our laptops to live while we're driving. This cabinet over here is the antenna for our Wii Boost that we can use, and other miscellaneous electronics and cords and that sort of thing. You know, stuff that ends up all over the counters and the bed. This cabinet up here is mostly, it's overflow clothes and our bathroom. So this is all our bathroom toiletries and brushes and toothbrushes and all that stuff. Right behind the monitor back here, we have an electric panel. So we have AC and DC power. And we have the dimmer switches for both sets of lights. So we have the lights zoned off, 6 lights in the front for the living area, and then 2 lights in the back, and they're just the little LED puck lights, as well as the rocker switches that actually power the circuits. One nice feature of this van is the epoxy river table that we made. This table was actually, it's made of a collection of rocks that Daphne and her father collected when she was younger. Really nice ode to him to, you know, encapsulate those rocks in this table that we use every single day, and we can sit over and enjoy and remember him. I'm a hobbyist woodworker, so for me this was an awesome adventure making this table. It was the first resin table I ever created, and honestly I thought it came out great. But yeah, this is where we can sit across from each other, enjoy meals, enjoy each other's company. On the walls we have 2 different wallpapers that Daphne picked out. Wallpaper, honestly, this is our second van build. We found that wallpaper is a really cheap and easy way to cover the walls, and it just brings life to the walls other than just painting it or, you know, backsplash. So we have this lovely floral design down here, and the side wall is all this gold and white and gold, nice neutral, you know, floral design. This wallpaper down here was from Etsy, and the one on the side wall here is from a company called Rifle & Co. We bought them online. They're both self-adhered, so they're a peel and stick product. Super easy to install. They stick really well. Honestly, I highly recommend it if you're looking for an idea, you know, other than, you know, shiplap wood on the side of your van. So the walls themselves are 1/2-inch plywood. If you've ever built one of these, you know that these vans have pockets and little chambers all over the place. So we wanted to basically flush out the walls to give ourselves a nice even plane, so that when we started building the cabinets and the walls, everything was on the same level. We put 3/4-inch furring strips all around the van and basically just screwed 1/2-inch plywood to that. We used a nicer plywood. It was a birch veneer plywood. It was actually cheaper than the sandy plywood, the pine stuff that you get at Home Depot. So the ceiling, I'm not sure I've seen on too many other van tours, but the ceiling is simply beadboard from Home Depot. It's about 3/8 of an inch thick, so it's real nice and light. It's easy to cut to the size, the odd sizes and shapes that you want. We just finished the edges with this 1/4 round, and the joints, we found this nice flowery trim that you know, looks great and is highly functional. The van is insulated with a variety of different materials. The floor has 1.5-inch rigid insulation on it, 60 psi, so it's nice and dense. The wall cavities are mostly stuffed with fiberglass. Some of the bigger wall areas are stuffed with polyiso, foil-faced polyiso. The ceiling, we have a combination of polyiso and spray foam in the areas that we couldn't, you know, stuff insulation in. Okay, now I'll come show you the bed area. The transit wall to wall is about 6 foot. I'm like 6'2", so it's just a little too short for me. For Daphne, in her last van, it was great because she chose a short queen size bed, and she's able to sleep side to side in the van, no problem. Meanwhile, whenever I came to visit in the last van, I'd have to sleep diagonal. I told her, you know, I'm going to sleep diagonal. It's your van, so you can choose either corner to curl up into. She didn't like that answer too much. So for this van, we decided to figure out how to accommodate my height. And one way we did it is with this pull-out extendable bed platform. The cushions that you see along the back wall drop down onto here. And this is a king size fitted sheet that tucks over them. And honestly, it's flawless. It works so well. It's easy to set up. Really have nothing negative to say about it. We installed 2 bunk windows on the side of the van. We did this mostly for ventilation, but we didn't realize how nice it was actually going to be. We do have 2 max air fans, one up towards the kitchen, one right above the bed. And what we realized was when you open the windows when you're sleeping at night and you have the fans blowing out, the draft that it runs over your body is unbelievable. So really, the sleeping situation is great. Even in the warmer weather, you get a beautiful draft over your body. Back here is all of our clothes, his and her clothes. Not too much space, but honestly, plenty, more than we need. It was a nice idea of ours to, run these upper cabinets all the way straight through. It doesn't really get in the way of us sleeping because this upper cabinet stops right here, and we do sleep lengthwise. So, I mostly sleep on this side. Daphne sleeps in the middle, and then Izzy sleeps tucked underneath the cabinet over here. So yeah, this is our bed. There's way too many stuffed animals. As a 31-year-old man, I didn't think I'd be sleeping in a bed with a stuffed unicorn. This is Mrs. Unicorn.
I'm an independent woman, right? That doesn't need no man. But then, I fell in love with Matt, and I do need a man, and it's better with him. It's better with a partner, and with a partner who you're madly in love with. And function, we just work so well together. It was really great to learn that. I'm a musician; he's a construction worker. But you have the creativity plus the practicality that just makes us work so well.
So one thing that she's been telling me since we hit the road in the end of January is, wow, it's so much easier getting the things that you need to get done. Because you don't realize that the simpler tasks take a long time when you're living in a van.
Yeah.
Simple things like making the bed. I mean, it's cramped, it's small, you can't walk around the bed and pull the sheets up.
Yeah, things like that. But then also, he's driving while I'm researching where we're going to stay and where we're going to eat, where we're going to get gas. Whereas I had to do all of that and pull over last time, and I had to, I can be making lunch while he's filling the water tank and things like that. They're just obviously the splitting the cost is nice as well. We work pretty well together. I teach lessons, so I have to talk out loud, but he doesn't mind. He can be just working on the computer. So our jobs, I've heard people say
my work is quiet. I'm not on the phone too much. It's more kept to myself, so it's not really. It's not a problem.
We don't bother
when she's
other.
making noise, making music, teaching.
So welcome to the back of the van where we have our garage. We ended up with the bed a little taller, so we have lots of space under here. Plus, we have this kind of hybrid system installed underneath the van. We bought it used. So there's a lithium battery down there that helps power the drive shaft, and it displaces the spare tire. So we utilize it as free advertising for our business. Saucy drafting and consulting and Flutist with a Van. Check us out. So yeah. This is our storage area. We have 2 totes, one for tools and one for random stuff. One backpack for winter coats and one backpack for adventure-y things. Chairs, table, tools, a little basket of things to make adjustments in the van, which is very helpful. And then a backpack for all of my flute gear. And we also have a backpack with snorkeling gear. Up here we have all of our materials needed. So we have the hose for filling our water tank, which is on the side. And then we have an outdoor shower. Last van I had an indoor one, barely used it, just a Planet Fitness. So we just did an outdoor one, which we love because we can shower the snorkel gear off or ourselves off. We have curtains in here to go 360 around the doors to protect the van and give you privacy from the outdoors. So we have taken hot showers out here, at the beach and stuff, which is really nice. Back here, we also have all the utilities. So on this side, we have the propane tank that is just like a barbecue 15-gallon propane tank. We swap it out. When we're not using the heater, we swap it out, I would say, every 2 months. When we are using the heater, home in New York in the winter, it's once a week. But either way, it's really not that bad. It costs around $15 to $30 to refill. Behind there, we have the 46-gallon fresh water tank. Then we also have our whole battery compartment. So this houses 2 SOK 204 amp hour batteries. Love them, highly recommend. We have a 3,000 watt inverter. We have 400 watts of solar panels on the roof. solar charge controller, the DC to DC charger, and everything fits nicely in there. We have this panel that slides off so you can access the batteries if you need to. We never had to. And this little flip door in case you want to plug in something to the inverter from the outside.
I wanted to show you the Wii Boost, which is mounted up here on the side of the van. It's kind of cool and unique. It's got this locking hinge where if you press the button, when we're stopped somewhere where we need to use it, we can flip it up. And then when we're driving, very easy to put it back down so we don't, the van's already tall enough so you don't want to hit any low bridges or anything with that.
Okay, so I am a professional musician living in a van, and where y'all at, message me, because there's not too many probably there is, but I haven't found too many of us online. And it's so convenient. I think the biggest hurdle for musicians to get into this lifestyle is the upfront cost, because we aren't really chilling with big bank accounts. So that's the hardest part, but we all find a way if we really want to. COVID hit us hard, hit our community really, really hard. But there's so many opportunities for musicians to kind of reinvent themselves. Like everything that was normal about how to be a professional musician got flipped up on its head from COVID. So a lot of us are rethinking how do you make a career with your instrument, with your passion, which I think is really exciting. So, I'm building my brand, Flutist of the Van. I started a music series called Tiny House Big Stages, where I was traveling in COVID and there's all these outdoor theaters and nobody's using them. So whenever it started when Matt was visiting, and he would pick up the camera and I just get on stage and record myself playing covers of things or whatever, and then stick it online as a video. And I'm excited to do much more of that, and tons of other ideas I have that I don't just have to be in New York, and if I don't want that, I don't have to do that, but I could still be a musician and travel the country and see myself as a whole person who has many passions, and have a life that's full of all of those things, especially my flute and my music. So yeah, message me if you're a musician or somebody in the arts, and we're all out here, we're making it happen. I'd love to meet you.
Yeah, so for the last 7 years, I've been a project manager for a commercial roofing contractor. I worked in the construction industry in New York City for about 5 years prior to that. So I have a good amount of experience. I found working for this roofing contractor that there's definitely a need for people to do shop drawings and submittals, on a freelance basis. Because a lot of these roofing contractors, they might be too busy or their office not staffed well enough. So what I decided to do was take my expertise in roofing and basically put that to work on the back end. So I started a business called Saucy Drafting and Consulting, where I will, you give me your plans, I'll put together a full-blown package of shop drawings for you so you can submit that to your architect or engineer. I do estimates, I'll do submittal packages, really anything project management based. I'm not limiting myself to any avenue. I have taken on work as a roof consultant. If you're an owner needing a re-roof, I'll steer you in the right direction, give you budget numbers. I'm just here to help, here to provide some of the knowledge that I've gained to help your business, thrive.
Okay, thank you for taking the tour and learning about us here in our tiny house on wheels. Again, I'm Daphne. You can check me out on Instagram at flutist with a van, and that will lead you to my YouTube and my website.
And I'm Matt. Check me out on Instagram, saucevan5000, or if you want to check out my woodworking page for the woodworking business I started in 2020, that's Saucy Custom Creations. And feel free to browse my website, saucydrafting.com, for any of your drafting or project management needs. See you guys later.
See you on the road.